in the family law proceedings. And this is Joanna Anaya. She is one of the family law attorneys as well here, with the Gonzalez Law Group, and she is the lead counsel on the family law situation going on between the two. But if y'all have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them.
Can you tell us what the custody agreement is currently for Sam between Sarah and Dalton?
Yes, well, currently our client has primary custody, but our client has been denied access for the child for many months, and has been going through the court system and trying to, right this wrong. But our client hasn't had access to young Samuel in many, many months.
When was the last time she saw him?
I'd say approximately like almost a year. Almost a year.
When was the last time she talked to him?
That I don't know. About a year. About a year ago. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Sarah reached out to us, and she wanted us to be her voice because we know that public opinion is important, and people want to hear from both sides. Want to hear from the mom, but right now she can't get a few words out. I mean, she's very emotional. She's very stressed. She doesn't know where her child is at, and like any parent would be.
What about this story about her going to the house with an officer, somebody in uniform? What about that story?
That is completely untrue.
What do you think about that story? Sorry.
I mean, there's only one reason why somebody make up a story like that. I think the story it tells itself, especially with me giving you the answer that it's untrue, and my client hasn't seen her child in many, many months. Then you can base your opinion or your conclusion on that.
Kind of piggybacking off that, what type of communication has she had with Samuel's father over the last few months, last few years since she last saw her son?
Not much, at all. I mean, it's just the point where a writ, was filed, and it's just trying to find him, trying to serve it, and they've just been going through a lot of the court process, and with the pandemic, when this arose, when they filed for divorce, it's the whole world kind of shut down. Courts shut down. Things took us several months to start getting some business taken care of in the courts, but also with him alluding, that it's a tough problem if you can't find the person to serve paperwork to.
Can you say whether or not she actually has ever been to his residence?
That I don't know. That I don't know. I'm the owner. Sorry about that. I'm the owner of a law firm. There's about 70 people here at the law firm. And I wanted to. Miss Olson reached out and asked me to be her voice, which I'm glad to do. But I personally haven't been working on the case from the start, so I don't know. I don't have exact dates, and I don't want to say anything that would be wrong.
Do you know why he attends that elementary school in Jersey Village area? Who lives in that area that he's been staying with? Why is he going to a school way up in Jersey Village?
That I don't know. Maybe
yes,
Joanna could have some insight.
Initially, when the father took, I guess, possession of him and failed to return him to our client, Miss Olson, Samuel went approximately 2 months without attending any school, and then eventually was transferred to another school. Exact information as to why, we don't know. A lot of information along with possession and visitation has been withheld all this time.
What was their arrangement when they would exchange him for different types?
Well, upon them separating, Sarah was exchanging the child. Primarily, Grandma was her point of contact, and then came last January when they did not return Samuel to our client.
Do they have to do it at a separate location, not house to house, but like a neutral location?
No, it was at Grandma's.
When you say Grandma, you mean Tanya Olson?
Yes, correct.
And so January 2020 is the last time she had contact with him?
That was the last possession period that was exchanged.
Has she had any verbal communication, like over the phone?
No, ma'am. She was denied all
Since
this time.
January of 2020?
Correct.
Wow. And so what is her reaction to just knowing that her son is missing?
She's completely devastated.
It's very hard to get a few, words out. I mean, she feels the system has let her down. She feels that, the courts, have let her down. She feels that, I have two children as well. To be denied, access, and then to find out this information, I mean, it's just, her heart is just torn into pieces right now.
Did she ever feel her son was in danger in his father's custody?
That would be something that we want to reserve our comments as far as because of the ongoing custody battle. That would be essential to our custody proceedings.
But the main thing that Sarah, wanted us, to convey to everybody is that, she just, if anybody knows any information, to help, find young Samuel, that's, the number one thing, right now. I know, dealing with any court issues, that's secondary right now to, young Samuel's health, and I mean, she's praying that we're all praying. Hasn't been a happy day, around here, at all, dealing with this, the tragedy and everything going on over this past weekend, over the extended holiday. And I mean, it's just, our hearts, go out, to young Samuel wherever he's at. And, we're all praying, for a positive outcome.
How long were they married, and what was the reason they divorced?
That I don't know.
Approximately 2.5, 3 years. And the reason that is being pled for at this time was insupportability.
Is their divorce finalized?
That aspect is finalized. The only thing pending is the modification for conservatorship.
Can you tell us when the divorce was finalized and at what point the current custody arrangements were made in court?
Okay, there has been no modifications to the custody orders that are in place, that were set in place as of 2019.
And that again is, she's the primary.
That is correct.
Has she been contacted by police?
Yes, people have reached out to her. She has been cooperating, with the investigation fully. Yes, she just does not feel comfortable, talking to the media right now.
Theresa Balboa, basically implicates her in her own son's disappearance. I mean, what do you think about that?
Okay, say that again.
Theresa Balboa, the father's girlfriend, basically implicates her in her own son's disappearance.
I mean, so like I said earlier, like that statement about a imaginary officer or like somebody posing as an officer is false. It's false. So, I mean, that tells you everything you need to know right there.
And do you know anything about the criminal case in the Galveston courts about a car assault?
Yeah, well, I mean, we are taking care of the family battle, so we are not, so we're not able to, comment because we weren't hired. We don't represent anyone in any criminal, issues on this matter. So I couldn't tell you anything about any criminal matter.
So just to clarify, Sarah was given primary custody in 2019?
That is correct.
But she hasn't seen her son since January of 2020?
Correct.
That is correct.
Does she feel in any way that law enforcement or the court system has let her down in that case? Or what are her thoughts on that, not seeing her son and having primary custody?
I mean, I'll reiterate what I said, earlier. Like that's, that's how she feels. I know the pandemic. This was in January, and then after hiring us and starting to file the paperwork when she was withheld, there was a visitation back in January 2020, and then at the end of visitation she wasn't given back young Samuel, so then that's when we had to start filing paperwork, and then the pandemic hit, and then I mean, it just, and it, even when the paperwork was accepted, trying to find him and find the child, just took some time, and then for other reasons, that we're not handling, just it just kept delaying, and but yeah, she really feels that the system wasn't there, for her or young Samuel to be able to be with his mom.
What is her reaction to just hearing this allegation made about her?
Like anybody would, on somebody being alleged to have had somebody to come and dress up as a police officer, to go and take a child. I mean, it's a remarkable, story, to tell. But I mean, how could, if a police officer would have some paperwork, would have stuff to be documented, to take that seriously. And if she has been denied access for that long, I mean, they're not gonna. I mean, there's too many holes, obviously in that story, and there's a problem. And if you or I got that, were accused of something like that, I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
After the meeting in January 2020, when she did not receive custody of Samuel back, what was her first move? Did she try to contact law enforcement? Did she try to contact the courts? What did she do to try to rectify that and get that handled immediately? Because I mean, obviously, it's her son, and she's supposed to have custody, pandemic or not. What were her steps? What were the steps she took to get him back in custody?
Yeah, the steps was taken is to, I mean, it's either calling law enforcement or, calling an attorney, to get paperwork filed, and that's what she did immediately in January of 2020.
But COVID and other things delayed that from happening, is what you're saying?
Yeah, because, I mean, it takes a process to get, a writ, the habeas signed by a judge in order to direct officers to go forcibly and go find the child and get the child. And so it takes, a little bit of time, and then, January, the whole world changed. I mean, sorry, in March, 2020, the whole world changed, and the courts were closed. I mean, people, officers weren't really going out and going to try to be around people. I mean, none of us were trying to be around each other, back in March, because, I mean, when the rodeo, closed down, here in Houston, that's when the entire, city knew something, bad, was coming. And we've all been living in a crazy world, since. And thankfully things are starting to open up again. And, when you think that, especially in our client's case, when you think that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, when things are starting to get back to normal, when things can move forward, and then, getting this type of news is just completely devastating. So, I mean, it's even hard, for us to come up here and talk with you, because, I mean, we've just been dealing with, tears and pain, for the last few days,
So in January, is it correct to say that he was unlawfully possessed, right? Because he didn't have primary custody. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there at any point, was there ever a chance where she could have intercepted and somehow got him back, or was she just did she not know where he was, or what was kind of the situation? Do you know?
That I don't know.
It was attempted, as Marco already explained to you all. She did take the necessary legal steps, which was first filing a writ of habeas corpus due to the pandemic, and also, as you all must know, that it is every individual's right to be provided with service. Service became a bit more complicated to be successfully served upon him, the citation for that particular motion, which was to recuperate him.
Was she denied knowledge of his location and
Correct.
everything throughout that entire period?
Correct. It was a bit of an issue to locate him, along with the pandemic.
You used the phrase, he eluded, so service. So do you think he tried to hide so he couldn't be served?
That's how we feel. That's our position. Yes.
Has Sarah talked to Dalton over the last couple days throughout all this ordeal?
No, ma'am.
Does she know this Theresa, who's now no one can find her?
No, ma'am.
At one point, Sarah was accused of trying to run over Dalton. Did that have anything to do with her ability to not see Samuel?
I had that's part of the reason why the court system was, it was taking a long time on, being able to get, access, and I wasn't, and that's misstating, the facts of what you said as well, like trying to run them over. She was trying to exit with the child, like you were talking about the intercept that she just mentioned, so she tried to do the intercept, and then we're trying to leave. Then that's when that incident happened, and then so that's kind of what led to even further, delay on, with the court system as well.
Yeah, so that was an accusation, and the court system would have to figure out if it was true or not. But the fact that was even a charge or an accusation, did that happen? You were saying that did lead to a partial delay in the paperwork or the.
With us dealing with the family law courts, yes. I mean, but with the criminal issue, like I said, we're not on that case, so I don't know every single, factor detail what happened, then, because, we're not the criminal attorneys, because dealing with family law, we deal with everything, in somebody's life, and even on the other side, life as well too. So, I mean, we have to take, everything, that's happened in their lives, together, and then when they separate, and then, until when they come in, with us and we file the paperwork, we go through somebody's entire life. Like, we have to be told everything, so that one specific instance, that happened, I think it was like early summer, a couple of months after the pandemic, started. I think, our client tried to take matters into her own hands to go do the intercept, and then that's when that incident happened. So, because she felt like she was being helpless, so she had to go and try to go get her child back herself.
So did the accusation that occurred have anything to do with any other delays in terms of her being able to see her child? Whether, obviously, again, whether it's true or not, but did the accusation itself have an impact?
No, if your question is if she was prohibited access after that incident, no.
Like, there was nothing in basically what you're saying, there was nothing in the court system that said, any paperwork that she's not allowed to be around her child. The whole thing was like she couldn't find her child, and then that was, that was the issue. But somebody can't just go and try to, I mean, you would think that you can, go try to grab your child, especially when, you've been denied access. But, sometimes, you got to go through the system, and sometimes the system takes a lot longer than anybody, wants it to. We live in a big city. I know the courts are overloaded, especially when the pandemic hit, especially the family law courts. I mean, here with the Gonzalez Law Group, I mean, some of the criminal cases went down, the personal injury, the car accident cases went down, but, when the pandemic, it was, and actually soar with the number of family law cases, that started, from the start of the pandemic, and even now. And so I know that, and the courts were closed for months, so everything just got backed up. So, I mean, that's, there's a combination of different things that led to, her not being able to see her child, so, because I mean, it's shown in the court documents, the jury trial for the criminal case was set for next week, so the final hearing for the family law was set a couple of weeks after that, at the end of this month, in order, to, because, family law, usually don't want to make any decisions on stuff until, any of the court, the criminal courts, smoke clears, so, and that was another situation was going on here as well. It's just, this is an unfortunate, situation, and, our hearts go out, to our client, but like I said, I mean, it's wherever Samuel is, we hope, that it's a positive outcome, even though, the light is not too bright in the words of the AccuSearch, from what they're saying, but we're still praying and hoping for a positive outcome out of this.
Just a little background on her. Does she have any other kids? Do they have any other kids together?
She does not have any other kids with the Samuel's father, but she does have one other child, which she does have custody of.
And is she employed?
Yes, she is.
Can you say where?
No, no. Anybody else? Everybody good? No.
Can you do it in Spanish? Can you do it in Spanish?
Are you gonna do it individually or?
She'll be the lead in Spanish.
Univision and Telemundo can do it together here with her. Okay.
Photos she's willing to share with her and Sam?
Yeah, I mean, I know this is, because it was so new over this weekend, it was, crazy. I mean, I know she's just, like I said, even getting one sentence out of her, she's just, she's so emotional right now. But, I mean, we hope that, she can assist in the pleas to the community, for help, with Samuel within the next couple of days.
And I know that she probably doesn't have many recent photos either, but if she had any that she'd be willing to share, we'd love to have those.
Yes, before you guys get started. If there are any photos or anything that she can share, you can email or text.
Yeah, I will send it to you guys in case she's sure. Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you.
You'll send them out to everyone?
Yeah, of course. Okay, great. Perfect.
Trying to do it in Spanish or? I'm trying to help you out. I'm doing my last time I love it. You had a 40-minute press conference?
Yeah.
Look.
We appreciate y'all, all of y'all for coming on out. We just, anything will help to find,
Well, I can
Samuel.
imagine having all this out there and not being able to, combat it. Because it's, I don't know, to have that story and
Sure. Yeah.
Oh no, this just came out right now?
Just
Oh shit.
Yeah, so
Jasper.
Jasper's in East Texas.
It's near Beaumont, I think.
Yeah, it's north of Vermont. Yeah,
Oh,
it's where James Bird was killed a number of years ago.
yeah, was it when he was drunk, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the only time I've ever heard of Jasper.
Yeah.
Wow,
Can we?
that's crazy.
Yeah, it hasn't been confirmed, but can we just get any comment from you on this possible development?
The only comment,
You mind going back up to the?
it's just heartbreaking.
Maybe that's what she wasn't answering.
I didn't. These are reports coming from a newspaper in Jasper saying that the police have discovered, they're investigating the discovery of a young child found in a local motel room there, the Best Western Inn. And there could be, unfortunately, a connection with Samuel's disappearance. I don't even know if Mom knows about this news, but just briefly a response if it is indeed connected.
The only thing right now is we all got to pray that it's not. You know, we all got to pray that Samuel, is okay somewhere, and this young boy's body found in this motel room in Jasper will not come back as being identified as young Samuel. We just learned this literally 10 seconds ago, and we just want to call our client, Sarah, and I'm at a loss for words. I wouldn't know, how to take that news if it was me, but let's hope it's not. Let's hope it's not.
Any idea if Dalton or Sarah had any connection to Jasper or East Texas?
No, not from our client, and this is rough. This is tough. Not from our client.
You said you're gonna call her after this? What is that conversation?
If I'm at a loss for words now with you, then I don't know what to say to her. We just need to pray that it's not him, and whoever that is, it's just, it's unfortunate. It's too much, hurt and pain. Even for, if it's not Samuel, somebody's hurting. For that young boy, and we're just, need to hope and pray that it's not Samuel. It's not Samuel. It's just, it'd be a lot to take for our client. We just need to, try to talk to her and pray that it's not it. And that's all. I can't really say anything else on that. We just got to pray that it's not. Pray that it's not.
Thank you, sir.
So as you can see, unfortunately, in this case, this little boy has been found already by the end of this press conference, and they let the attorneys know. What do you think happened? And do you think Theresa's involved? And if you do you think his dad knew before all of this happened? I have questions.